Hey everyone, it's Janine, your local realtor here in the Edmonton area. Today I'm going to be going over what happened in the month of May for the Edmonton Real Estate Market. If you follow my channel, you may be thinking, wow, this is kind of late. It's kind of mid-June here. And yeah, you're right. The last few weeks, we've had a lot of smoke in the area from forest fires and everything, and it really affected me. I lost my voice for a while, and it was bad. It was bad sounding. I didn't want to record. I'm pretty much almost back to normal, but it's kind of still there. But I really just want to get this out, and there are some changes in the market that I want you to know about. So let's just go with it. I apologize in advance if I start losing my voice or something, or it just sounds really off. Okay, let's get into it. So, as a reminder, this report focuses on just the city of Edmonton alone. So, there's a lot of little cities around like St. Albert, Sherwood Park, Beaumont, Nisku, Spruce Grove, all these other little places around the city. They are not included in this report. It is just the city of Edmonton. However, I still do work in all those other little cities around the area. So if you do have any questions, we could always go over that in more detail. Just feel free to reach out, drop a comment below, and we can look into that for you. Okay, so let's start with detached single family homes. We are seeing a lot more activity in solds. Everything's going a little bit quicker. Well, not quicker, but just more. Selling more, I guess. So we're seeing a higher percentage being sold, almost 30% versus 70 active listings. This is where it gets interesting. So we look at the new listings hit the market in May versus how many sold. So as you can see, there's more that sold than more that got listed. Or did I say that right? There's more that sold versus how many got listed in the month. So what does that mean? Like, there is a lot of demand and just not a lot of inventory. Why is this happening? A few reasons. We are still seeing a lot of people moving from out of province, out of country to Edmonton. So that's one. The other reason, we just don't have that much inventory. Construction is not keeping up with the demand. And finally, with our lower interest rates a year back and a couple years ago, a lot of people locked in for like a 5-year term at like a low interest rate, around 1-2%. So these people are not going to sell. They are hanging on to get through their mortgage term because a lot of interest rates are above 5% right now. So it wouldn't make sense for them to sell, and which means there's not many listings coming to market. So what happens when there's more sold versus new listings hitting the market? An increase in average price. And this is interesting because this price has increased even from last year. Last year, if you remember, at this time, we had just started seeing a bit of an increase in interest rates. So we were still much lower than we are today, and the price right now is still higher. So what does that really kind of mean? Well, in my opinion, with the increase in interest rates and stuff, it's not going to change anything. The bigger problem is just having inventory, people not wanting to sell, there's not enough inventory, and a big demand moving here. So I fully expect to see this kind of trend continue. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball into the future. This doesn't include our most recent interest rate increase, which was at the beginning of June. So in a couple of weeks here, I'll do another report and see where we're at by then. But as you can tell, it's not changing a whole lot because there's a bigger root of the problem, not just interest rates. So as you can see, though, things are taking still a little longer. even though the price is higher. It's not like flying off the shelf kind of thing like last year, but the price is still going up, and you can see that as it trending through this graph. So we kind of hit a low last year, or we were started low and we went up and peaked, and then we kind of dipped down a little bit, and from there we started low again, and we are slowly rising, and we have just crossed the point from last year. So let's take a look at what is selling. The most popular range here in the city for detached family homes is between 3 to 500. You will find the most competition here, least amount of listings, and most sold. So how many months of inventory? This is kind of showing you where we're at with inventory. Usually what's kind of common, more like if you see a balanced kind of market, the inventory should be kind of around a four months of inventory. As you can see, we're below 2. So for the lower price and between 3 to 500, it's the lowest amount of inventory, which is increasing average price. Earlier this year, we saw even higher amounts of inventory for the higher price, and now even at the higher price, we're starting to see inventory dwindle down, like between 5 to 700. How long are things taking to sell? Still kind of all around, floating around the 40-day average, which is pretty common. And how many are selling at or over list price? So it's still not a whole lot compared to what we saw last year, but it is gaining in strength a little bit depending on the price bracket you're in. So in general though, about 20%. So let's take a look at duplexes and townhomes. Just a reminder, duplexes and townhomes can be two separate things, and they kind of affect pricing. So there can be a duplex or a townhome in a condo board or not in a condo board. When they're in a condo board, you can see the price a little lower, and when they aren't in a condo board, you can see the price being a little higher. So it kind of skews the averages a little bit, so something to keep in mind as we go through this. But looking at all of the actives versus solds, again, you can see a lot more sold activity than usual. Just over 36% sold versus 63 active. Again, looking at the new listings versus solds. Again, for duplexes and townhomes, same thing. Less listings in May and more solds. So what does that mean? An increase in price for month to month. We are still down compared to last year, but we slowly are creeping up, as you can see in this graph here. We are closing the gap between prices. So even though the interest rates were lower then, we are still creeping up, and that just comes from demand and inventory. So what's selling with these kind of homes? Between the 200 to 400 is the most popular. And how much inventory do we have? Low amounts of inventory, especially within the popular range between 2 to 400. We are below 2 months worth of inventory. Again, if you want to see more of a balanced market, it would be around 4 months of inventory. So yeah, there's just not a lot to choose from right now, and it's increasing the pricing. So how long is this taking to sell? Pretty similar to the single family detached homes, kind of close to the 40-day mark on average. And what about selling at or over list price? Same kind of thing, you could expect around 20%. As you get into the higher price brackets, that kind of goes away. So you can expect more of a deal there if you find something in that range. What about apartment condos? So this is a little different, and I'll show you why. Less activity here for selling. So just over 17% sold and over 82% active. And why is that? Because there's actually a lot of inventory for apartment condos. So there's a lot more listings compared to how many sold. And that kind of comes back to inventory and demand. There's a lot more inventory, maybe not as much demand. So what happens with that? The price kind of decreases. So we are lower compared to last year, and it simply comes down to inventory and demand again, just like the other way, or just like the other homes, but this is opposite. There's more inventory, less demand, so it creates this situation. You can see the price. It's not uncommon to see apartments, the apartment market kind of do this. It kind of goes up and down in waves. So right now we're on a little bit of a downwards trend, and we'll see if that changes anytime soon. I expect kind of the same kind of thing, up and down, just little waves. So what is selling with these apartment condos? Mostly between or up to 200,000 is the most popular range. You can see there's a lot of inventory compared to what's selling. So we are over the 4-month mark, almost at 5 months of inventory. So it would be more of a buyer's market then for apartment style condos. How long do these take to sell on market? A little longer than everything else. So you could expect around an average of 50 days on market. And do they sell at or over list price? Generally, not really. Just around 10% usually do. You can see there's the odd one out here between 400 to 500, and that's just because there's not many that sold in that price. So even if there's like one, it can really skew the average. But in general, expect maybe around 10% to sell at or over list price if it's priced correctly for the unit. As a reminder, all of this is just a very big general overview. If you want to learn more about your own situation, I highly recommend reaching out, because this is just a big overview of the city. It can come down to neighborhood, your specific home, even a street can change things drastically. So if you want to know more about your own situation, reach out, call, email, text, whatever works best. I'm always here to help. And until next time, see you.